Hey fam,
Hey guys,
welcome back to our channel. My name is Brian.
and I'm Alec.
Welcome to Meet the
Meet the
Mazelins.
Mazelins.
Alright guys, so last week I did my coming out story.
And yeah, so I guess that means it's my turn. So I'm gonna be talking about my coming out story, and we also decided that we're just gonna share a little piece of our journey of self-discovery with you guys too.
Yeah.
So
You ready?
mm-hmm.
Alright, so when did you notice that things were a little different with you?
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, I think people recognized that something was a little bit different before I even recognized it myself. I think my earliest memory, I can remember being in kindergarten, which means that I would have had to be like 4. And you had some sixth grade students, so they're like 10, 11. They used to make fun of the way that I walked. So they said that I used to have a little swish in my walk, and they would make fun of me for that.
Wow.
So they said my walk was girly. Yeah, and this was from a very young age before like I even knew
What sexuality or any of that was.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I remember now being 10, and this would have been me in the 6th grade. At that time, that was the first time in that I had any kind of feelings or that I started questioning like something might be wrong with me, because I used to get such an excitement off of just touching like a guy like that, like grabbing them like that. And I mean, that wasn't huge, but it seemed like such a big deal to me because I felt different inside.
There was nothing wrong with you. It was just your curiosity. You know?
Yeah. So, but then also at that time, I used to watch this show called Degrassi, The Next Generation. So for those of you who don't know, that's where Drake got his start. So he was Aubrey Graham back then.
I've never seen an episode of Degrassi.
But Degrassi was like my teen drama that I grew up with. So watching from season 1, I remember season 3, they introduced this new character, Marco Del Rossi. And every stage that he went through, that's exactly what I felt like I was going through at the time. And it was at that point, it's like you see it playing out and you're like, wow, okay.
He was a gay character.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was him exploring his sexuality and everything, and it was more focused on how he felt and feeling different. And I felt like it was my life playing out on screen.
Wow.
So that's the first time I kind of felt very torn. Like I wasn't sure, was this a phase? Is this what I like?
You're confused.
Yeah, I was confused at that time. Right after grade 6, because in Jamaica, high school starts from the 7th grade. So I went straight into high school. I went into an all-boys school.
Oh.
So, you know, stars in my eyes. Like, I mean, already being confused at that point, and then just being dropped in an ocean of just males.
Wasn't overwhelming at all.
I mean, it was more scary than anything because, again, coming into this institution, I was labeled from the jump. People would call me Batman or whatever it was because of how I spoke, because of how I presented myself. So I started second guessing my actions too.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I don't know what I am, and people are labeling me, and that just added to the confusion as, like I'm still 10, 11, 12, maybe.
That's so young for high school.
Yeah, at this time. And I can remember being 13, and that was probably the first time that I acted on. I feel so judged. Acted on what these feelings were. I mean, guys going through puberty and whatever changes happening in their body.
I'm not judging you, it's in the judge-free zone.
So it was just like comparing size and, just looking.
So y'all would just stand in the room and look at each other's pee-pee?
Yeah, something like that. But we're not going any further on that.
Right. Okay.
But throughout the rest of high school, I had girlfriends, and it was weird because I was always emotionally attached more to females, but my fascination with men was always only physical at that point. Um, so yeah, I had girlfriends and you know went through the works going through high school, and I left high school in 11th grade, and then I went to community college to finish the other 2 years. So when I went to community college now is when I kind of delved more into my sexuality in general. So
you were more. Is that when you started to develop feelings for guys, like emotional feelings?
So I mean, I was with a girl, and then I also had my first boyfriend at the same time. And
Scorpio in you.
Joking. I mean, balancing the two relationships at once. I remember the girl left me, and then 2 weeks later, the guy left me. So I ended up with none. I started with two and ended up having none. But that was the first time that I felt emotionally attached to a guy. And that was actually the last time I dated a girl. Because for the first time, it felt like I had found everything in one package. Because I'd never had feelings for a guy like that before. And I just felt like going forward, it was easier to just stick with guys because I felt like no girl would want to be with a guy who had feelings for guys as well. And it was too much to explain, and I didn't want to have to lie or hurt anybody. So the fact that it was now possible for me to have everything in one, I said, all right, I'm just gonna continue with this and explore that side. So now coming to my first time really coming out, my best friend, who is straight, married and everything, so straight. He was always a year ahead of me in school, so he was about to go to university. And I remember being at the beach, and he had asked me, I tell you everything that I do with my girlfriends, and I feel like you don't share anything with me. And at that point in time, I was like, this is probably the best time for me to say something to him, because I didn't want him to feel like I didn't value him or he wasn't close. So I told him, well, the reason I don't tell you about anything I do with girls is because I'm actually doing it with guys.
Dun dun dun.
I remember after that, like, it never even took him 2 seconds. He was like, what have you just said to me a while ago? And he got super loud, and I was so scared, like my stomach literally just dropped to the floor. And I was trying to get him to calm down and quiet down. So I remember trying to grab him on his arm to calm him down, and he flashed me off and said, don't touch me. And he stormed out of the water. And after that, I was just like, made a huge mistake. I probably shouldn't have said anything. I gave him some time to cool off because, of course, his parents are going to be the ones dropping me home now. So I had to talk to him. And I went up to him and I just said, I'm going to allow you to ask me any question that you want to ask, and I'll try and answer as honestly as possible. The questions he asked, they made me so uncomfortable. So it was really, really difficult, but I answered honestly, and we never spoke for a few days. And then eventually we started going back to tennis, going back to the beach. But in all our interactions after that, it just felt to me like something had changed, and I was very aware. So if I brushed him by accident, I was like, oh, sorry. I was very apologetic because I didn't want him to feel like
you were coming on to him or trying.
Yeah, that I was trying anything with him. And months had passed, and he had said to me, I think that you're more uncomfortable with this than I am. And
which was probably true.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
based off the reaction, I mean, I probably would have been just as uncomfortable as you.
Yeah, because after that reaction, I was ready to just go right back in that closet and lock the door. But him saying that to me, we actually were able to get so much closer, and I value that so much. If it wasn't for my interaction with him, I don't think I would have been able to gradually get to the point of comfort that I'm at now. After that, now, I would have gone to university. And when I went to university, I kind of started seeing people who
were like you.
Yeah, were like me. So I felt like I had reached in a comfortable space. And when I was on campus, everything was good. At that time, my hair was dyed, so it was blonde first, then it was burgundy, then it was bright red. So it was different shades, and I had a mohawk and I had a tail at the back. But when I was on campus, it was cool. But the minute I would go, like in the town or in the city, or especially home, so much people would have so much to say about it. I've had people literally slowly driving beside me, throwing slur words at me. I've had people like call down mobs of attention on me, and yeah, it was a very, very scary time for me, because even when people were trying to pursue me, it was in such an aggressive way that everything was just listed off as dangerous. When I was in university, though, I was able to find my tribe and find a group of people that, really accepted me for me. And when I left, when I was 21, every year it has just gotten better. And I never felt the need to lie to anybody. So if anybody asked and I felt like they weren't asking with malicious intent, I wouldn't have any problem saying it. And I mean, that was me at 21. I'm now 29, and it took me that amount of time to actually come out to my family now. So
that was my fault.
I mean, it needed to happen, but we got engaged on Christmas Day, because he proposed on Christmas Day. And that night, we had gone to my grandmother's house for dinner. My sister saw an armband that I was wearing, which had our initials, and it had the day that we met. And she asked, "What's the significance of the band that you're wearing?" And I said, "Oh, that's the day that me and Brian met." And she was like, "Oh, bro love." And I don't know why, but I was just so upset. Yeah, like, to me it was like, why did it have to be bro love? Like, it couldn't be anything more than that.
You felt like it discredited our relationship.
Yeah. And somebody had called her right after that, so I couldn't even continue the conversation as soon as it had happened. And maybe about 2 weeks later, I think, after telling you...
Yeah, we talked about it for a little while, because you were really bothered by it.
Yeah, that I felt the need to address her. And when I did...
When you addressed her, you confronted her about how you felt. You felt like you were slighted a little bit. You got on her like, yeah, about that band.
Yes, I just told her everything. I told her, so I'm actually engaged. So me and Brian are together. And when you said that, I felt like, as you said, it discredited our relationship. So after that, she was like, it's funny because I never looked at you any differently, or as gay or as straight even. I kind of never thought about your sexuality at all. But she felt like, because I didn't tell her earlier, that I robbed her of the opportunity to be a better sister when it is that I was growing up. And that experience showed me that the people that are close to you, that coming out is important for them too, because they kind of use it as a benchmark to see how close you guys are. Or
they shouldn't.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, they shouldn't, but I guess it's something that they do.
I guess I can understand that to a certain degree, but like, your best friend his reaction is the exact reason why we don't come out to people. Because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't expect them to blow up, but they do. So it kind of, and then what happens is, like you said, you become uncomfortable around them. So, to avoid any of that happening, you just don't say anything.
Yeah, and I guess, and the thing is that we have to be comfortable with whatever the response is.
Yeah.
Whether it's good, it's bad, you just have to deal with it. But after I told her, she was like, well, you have to tell your mother, right? So eventually I sat down with her, which was a few weeks later, because I kept trying to postpone it, but then we couldn't wait for it to get too late.
We had already filed the paperwork.
Yeah, we had filed the paperwork and everything. So I told her everything at once, that I was gay, I was engaged, I was filing to move. So I told her everything at once, but she really...
Good thing she didn't have a heart attack.
But she took it really well, and I mean, even the next day when I saw her, she was just like, oh, by the way, I told your brother. Oh, by the way, I told your grandmother too. And then 2 days after that, she formed a WhatsApp group with like my aunts and uncles, and she sent out one broadcast and was like, by the way, Alec finally came out. And in true Alec fashion, it was dramatic. So not only is he gay, but he's also engaged. Congrats to Brian and Alec. And that was a message.
That's what I love about your mom, because she supported you wholeheartedly. She wasn't ashamed. You know what I mean? So like I said, I'm not envious, but I really wish that would have been my story. You know what I mean?
And I mean, in the moment, I never felt that way. In the moment, I was pretty upset that she never gave me the opportunity to, tell my own story. But then she said after that, I know this is going to come out eventually, and I didn't want anybody to feel like I was ashamed of my son for even a second. So when she said that, I couldn't have any problem with that at all. Like, that's something that everybody wish that they could have.
And it's crazy because this is a Jamaican family. They are based in Jamaica. Yeah. Whereas I'm in the U.S. and I didn't have that kind of response. In Jamaica, it's like illegal over there. Yeah.
So I mean, it has been nothing but support for the most part from my family. And, after that had passed and we were in the preliminary stages of planning the wedding, we're coming up with the guest list, and a lot of my friends are straight and a lot of them are gay. But the straight ones, I've never really felt the need to say anything because I feel like I haven't edited myself. So everybody knew what was up.
Or they just didn't care.
Yeah, so it didn't matter. So, I was telling them, oh, by the way, guys, just letting you know I'm engaged. And there was one person in particular. I said it to her nonchalantly because I figured that she wouldn't be bothered. And I was like, I know you've probably figured, but yes, I'm gay. But I have someone special in my life and I'm actually engaged and I'm hoping to get married next year. So I'm letting you know from now, hope you'd be able to attend the wedding. And she responded and she said, I love you, but I can't support you because what you're doing, I think, is wrong. And that really threw me for a loop because this person in particular, I was not prepared to hear that response from her. And she told me that she figured, and she's figured for a long time, so much so that she even said it to her father, and her father said to her, does his sexuality make him any less of a friend? And she said no. But yet, even after it is that I was able to tell her this, she was still able to voice to me that she doesn't think that she can support me. And, in that moment, I felt really, really hurt. But at the same time, like, I had to tell her no love lost. Because I understand that everybody, they come to terms with things in their own time. Yeah, but
I'm not as forgiving. Especially considering that y'all have been friends for so long. And like her dad said, does that change who he is as a person? Does it change the relationship or the dynamic of your friendship? at all, and she could say no, but then she can still judge you so harshly when her record is not squeaky clean. Don't throw stones in a glass house.
Yes, I mean, it was hard, but you know, I just had to remind myself of the amount of love that I had around me. And at the end of the day, you know, if somebody can't pick and choose what parts of you that they want to accept, especially because it already took me so long to be comfortable in my own skin. But yeah, we moved on and we went ahead with wedding plans, and this is where the whole of my business gone a road now.
The photo shoot.
Yeah, so we took our engagement photos in June. By the end of June, the photographer had posted a teaser video on her page. And
amazing photographer, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Sydney. And when she posted the teaser video, I went on and I was like, okay, well, you know, she's in the US, I'm in Jamaica, no one is gonna see it.
Like,
yeah, went on, and then I saw people from Jamaica had liked the post, and I was like, what the hell? So people started sending that around. Then we had a page share our engagement photos that was only available in the US. It had blocked Jamaica.
Black gay weddings.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, okay, nobody's gonna see it. Not knowing that it wasn't blocked in other Caribbean islands.
Trinidad.
Yeah, St. Vincent, Barbados. So people there saw it and sent it, screenshot it, sent it to people in Jamaica. People in the US who are from Jamaica screenshotted it and sent it to people. So it started going around. Then another page shared the Black Gay Magic.
Oh, Black Gay Magic.
Shared the photos. Yeah. And that was available everywhere. And that's when J-Flag, or Equality JA, which is they're the group that lobbies for gay rights in Jamaica. They had approached me and asked if they would have been able to share the image. And I took 2 days to think about it, because I mean, I wasn't sure that, you know, I wanted to.
2 days to think about it, about a week and a half to respond.
And I eventually said yes, because at least this was an opportunity for me to share in the way that I wanted to.
You were able to control
on my terms. Yeah, on my terms. And I wanted to use it as an opportunity to represent a group that I'm a part of, and hopefully inspire people in my own country that love is something that should be available to everybody, and we should be able to aspire to celebrate it at its highest point, being marriage, and be happy about that. So the day that they posted the photo, 20 minutes had passed and I never saw a whole lot of activity. Like, I didn't even want to look at the picture. I was just waiting to get a call or a message or something. And one person messaged me and was like, hey, I saw that this site posted your photo. Did you know about it? And I was like, yeah, I gave them permission. Then my sister called me and said that somebody called her. And do I know that this photo is going around? And I was like, oh boy. And then probably about after an hour, I just made a post on my Instagram story saying I shared a big piece of me today in the hope that it inspires somebody else to go after their own version of happiness. And I put, if you know, you know. And it was with the pride background and everything. And the minute I posted that, I got hundreds of DMs after. People showing their support, telling me congrats. People who were just going through the same kind of struggle, and they're saying that, you know, it's so brave. People, of course, concerned about my safety. But I even had people who didn't know me adding me and reaching out to me and, you know, saying how thankful they are that we were able to share something like that. And I mean, for those 2 days, I felt so fulfilled, only to then go to work the Monday after, and walking through the doors, like, it felt like everybody was giving me, like, you know, silent treatment.
Side eyes.
Yeah, I was getting side eyes, and this was from co-workers and customers alike. I have a few coworkers that like I'm really close to, and I told them right before it came out, and they welcomed me with open arms. And honestly, they're the only reason I was able to get through the first few days at work. But it was super rough at that time. But as time progressed, I felt better each day. And looking back at this now, after months have passed, I feel so liberated now. I can't even tell you like the peace of mind that I have. For the first time, I can truly say that I'm completely happy being Alec in my own skin, not hiding a thing, you know? And I have a whole new level of happiness, a whole new level of confidence that I never imagined that I would have had, you know, going through that experience.
Yeah. That's good. I remember going through that with you. It felt good, all of the positivity that you were receiving, but then you did get some backlash too. And I was afraid as well, like for his safety, because I'm like, listen, if you gotta quit and move up here.
You was ready for me to quit from like the first week of July.
I was, yeah, but I'm glad you were able to get through it. I'm glad that you got more support than you got hate. And that actually, like, that Equality JA post, and then all of the positivity from people that he didn't even know who were reaching out to him saying that we're like some martyrs for them, like we're role models, and that was part of the reason why we started Meet the Mazelins. So I mean, you guys are the reason why we're here now.
Yeah, and why we've even continued to you know, share here on YouTube. But yeah, it really has been such a liberating experience. And if it's one thing, like, I used to be insulted when somebody would call me gay or any other derogatory term. But now that I've put it out into the universe, that is what I am.
So, you know, you can't hurt me with
you can't hurt me with something that I've admitted to the world.
Right.
And that is power that nobody can take away from us. Yeah, so we've come out the other end, and yeah, just enjoying life.
Yes, had a few bumps and bruises on the way, but look at us now, we good.
Right? We good over here.
Yes, we are. All right, guys, well, we appreciate you for watching. Here we go again.
Like,
subscribe,
share, comment, all of those things. Yeah.
All of it, please.
You know what that part go. We don't need to tell you guys that.
We'll get it together. I promise we will.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye.